chances of actually getting to the top tier here in the United States. So he thought, I'll forego what I have going on in Europe in the FIA Formula 2s, and instead of moving to Formula 1, he said, I think I could get a little bit quicker coming over to the United States through INDY NXT and the IndyCar Series. And to his point, he looking at all those courses with Ohio, he brought up Laguna Seca. And
okay, let's try this again, see if we've got some audio coming out here. Appreciate all of your feedback, those of you that messaged me, and hopefully you've stuck with me or hopped over to the stream that we have going on right now. Currently, Salvador Del Alba, a very successful driver, especially on the ovals in the USF ladder series, is at the top of the charts with Josh Pearson. Breakout season for Josh Pearson, a young driver that is with HMD Motorsports and has an opportunity from Portland, Oregon. So I followed him for a while, knowing that he was moving up through the ranks. And here he is up in the top of the board with some other drivers that are popping up and down as we go through.
So it's going to take some time.
do you think the wall is intimidating to her as well, being in a single-seater like that, down low, and just having a concrete?
On a lot of weekends, consistently third and obviously a championship contender.
And the first part of the year was pretty much hit or miss for Kyle. I honestly didn't think much of him the first half of the season, and then as the season progressed, he really got good. And that second half of the season, even on some of the ovals, I mean, he was there and really honed his craft in that second part. And to come into this 2025 campaign, certainly one of the drivers, and we can toss a bunch of the names up there, but right now it's Hogger, Hedge, De Alba, Collette, and Pearson. So with the exception of Hogger, all these guys have been here before. They've seen this track before. So Dennis Hogger, certainly impressive thus far.
Michael gave you the top five. Kyle Collette just went P1 at a minute 5.788 with 25 minutes to go here in practice number one. That bumps Dennis Hogger down to second. Callum Hedge is third. Salvador De Alba is fourth. Josh Pearson is fifth. And as Michael touched on, you see a lot of veteran names so far. The top five. Lockie Hughes for Andretti Global is sixth quick. Jack William Miller is seventh fastest so far. Jordan Missig is eighth. Ricardo Escoto is ninth. James Rowe is back.
Michael, I appreciate the feedback on that. We're going to
10th quick right now. Then it's Liam Skeets.
Make sure that we're not muted or anything. Thank you so much for that feedback. I know if I'm saying this, you probably can't hear me. But we'll first practice of the year, so we're working out our kinks as well as we try to get the get up and running here.
First is Haley Deegan. We are watching Callum Hedge make his way around the racetrack. A guy who, Davey, I thought quietly, consistently, top fives, strung a lot of them together. He's another one. Sophomore season. Last 3 seasons, we've seen a driver in their second year win the championship. So for drivers like Callum Hedge and Kyle Collette, this is the time to step up.
And maybe you can
questions on some of these drivers at the start of the season, and Hedge, for me last year, was one of those drivers like, he just doesn't really seem to have what it's taking to do this, but
trying to fill in here and there to give you some information that I've gathered over the years of following some of these drivers in the series.
Year in this series, he's coming back to a lot of the same racetracks. He has confidence with that team, and it shows that he's in P3 right now.
Yeah, last year for Callum Hedge, ended up 4th in the championship with 1 podium, got a 3rd place finish at Detroit, but was very, very consistent with 5 top 5 finishes, 8 top 10s. And Michael, we've seen time and time again, especially with a larger field, making sure you don't have those disastrous days and you know, scoring those points. Hey, sometimes if you got a 7th place car, then get 7th place points. A guy like Callum Hedge, I feel like can do a good job of keeping all 4 corners on that car and scoring as many points as possible.
Okay, so let's make sure that I've got audio going right now. I'm trying to test this out. We'll get this bugs worked out of this over the weekend as we get some of our setup here, and want to give some exposure to these drivers at Indy NXT, as they talked about a number of the drivers that finished quite high, or the podium from last year's St. Pete. All 3 of those drivers are in the Indy Car Series this year. So the Indy NXT is really provided an opportunity for drivers to go through. This being the 20th anniversary of Dan Wheldon's win. On that same day that Dan Wheldon won at the St. Pete Grand Prix, there was a young Indy Lights driver, or at that time the Mazda Pro Mazda Series, was Marco Andretti, winning at the track at St. Pete, as he was the next year Rookie of the Year at Indianapolis. So this series over the years has provided a lot of a stepping ground for folks to be able to make the launch into the Indy Car Series.
I don't think it's any surprise that you see the names that we saw last year, just for the simple fact that they're in potentially better equipment. They know what they're doing. They've been here before, so they don't have that learning curve that some of these rookies have. For Jordan Missing to come out here and do as well as he's doing thus far, currently P3, as we have just about 21 minutes left in this practice session, our opening session of 2025. So far, so good for Jordan.
Davey, you're keeping an eye on the timing and scoring so far in this practice session.
Yeah, and what you're going to see, we have a pretty big gap between first and last right now. It's like 4 seconds, just a little over 4 seconds. But by the time that the rubber gets laid down, these drivers get confidence, I expect to see just over maybe a second between this whole field. I mean, I think everybody's going to, the fast guys are kind of there already, right? It's going to be the bottom ones, the rookies, the people who haven't been here before are going to just start slowly moving their way towards the, towards at least mid-pack of this of the chart.
You mentioned at the top of the show being out there on the 2-seater when the track was completely green. Just how much, I mean, weather's not going to be a factor. Knock on wood. It looks like we're going to be sunny and 70 all 3 days here in St. Pete. So how...
So Snocky, I see that you've listed there for a shout out for Sophia. Sophia so far 14th in this session, currently in the pits, but just a 1.1 seconds behind. Great showing, has been able to complete 16 laps, and I think that's going to be the key for some of these drivers like Sophia, Haley Deegan, Nikita Johnson, his first opportunity to be in one of these next cars on the track in a race situation. The number of laps that they're going to be able to complete. You see Jack William Miller completing 19 laps. So for him, this is a sophomore season in the series, but the number of laps that he'll be able to put out is going to be fantastic. That's going to be what they need, is the seat time.
Now, on the streets of St. Petersburg, it is the Brazilian Caio Collet who is the quickest at a minute 5.788. Dennis Hogger is second. Jordan Missing is third. Callum Hedge is fourth. Salvador de Alba is fifth. Josh Pearson is sixth fastest. Ricardo Escoto is seventh. His car sits on pit lane. Out of the racetrack right now in eighth is Lockie Hughes. And earlier today, I had a chance to chat with the young man who comes to us from Australia. He's the USF Pro 2000 champion, making his Indy NXT debut this weekend. Well, we're here in St. Pete to kick off another season on IndyCar Radio of INDYNXT by Firestone. And one of the rookie drivers that I think everyone's got their eyes on is Lockie Hughes, the scholarship driver, a championship a year ago in USF Pro. Nice thing is, you know a lot of these racetracks. Does that give you a little confidence coming into these weekends, knowing that you got a lot to learn with the race car?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say majority of tracks, but there's still, a lot to learn in this car. Like all the ovals I haven't been to, so that's almost going to be a completely different ball game. In the USF Series we do the Lucas Oil Raceway oval, but these ovals we're going to now are a big step up, and a couple other tracks like Detroit and stuff I haven't been to, but just excited to almost stop talking and get the season going. It's been a long 6 months since I won the championship in Portland, so it's a long time as well, just since I've raced, so hopefully not too rusty when we get going as well. So just excited to get going.
What have you learned the most about the car in terms of preseason testing leading into this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a big jump, so much quicker, so much heavier, faster, longer. It's just you sort of, everything's just so different. It's just, trying to get used to it. We got a couple of test days, so you don't get much testing in this Indy NXT stuff. So, just been trying to get up to speed as quick as I can, obviously learn the team as well, so we can, hit the ground running and be quick here this weekend.
Last handful of years at Indy NXT by Firestone, it's been sophomore drivers that have won the championship that come back for a second year. How do you set those expectations knowing that you've got a lot to learn and you got a lot of fellow competitors who have a lot of experience?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. There's no doubt about that, but I guess just got to, back myself and go out there and do the job.
Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
That's Lockie Hughes. A year ago.
A lot of celebrities and past racers joining us this weekend.
So the first red flag for Sophia Flores. She's a 24-year-old from Germany driving for HMD Motorsports. Has competed in FIA Formula 3 in 2020. Took a bit of a break, came back in 2023 at 24. Her best result was a 7th in that series. She makes the move over to the United States. And admit it, the biggest challenge is certainly going to be learning these racetracks. But Michael, as we were talking about Mario Andretti and
so difficult to hear that Sophia is having some issues there brought out that were actually under a red flag at this particular time. That's going to make it difficult for the folks to be able to get the laps in that they need, both of the rookie drivers and the experienced drivers. Sophia at the time was holding where she had been with the difference of 1.1 seconds against the top in the 14th position, and a total of 17 laps. So red flag is going to be lifted here in just a little bit, and we're going to be getting back to green.
And they were able to go back green again. And that's Colette. He's the leader of the pack right now. So a little confidence for that second-year driver.
Yeah, late number change for him as he was scheduled to be 23.
Was he tied in with Connor Daly?
And he goes to 76. And we also just learned that Connor Daly's Hunkos car that was supposed to be 78 is also 76. So haven't entirely sure what got the story on that yet. But Colette is the fastest right now at a minute 5.788. Dennis Hogger, he has not gone back onto the racetrack yet, but impressive for that rookie Norwegian driver at a minute 5.827. In fact, the top 6 cars all within 0.3 of a second.
So there's an interesting tidbit, a change in number for Connor Daly. Could that be some sponsorship coming in and a tie-in with what's going on with Colette? And could this be with Unocal or the 76 gas and oil company? We'll have to stay tuned on that, see if that trickles over to Connor Daly's car as well.
Basically said everyone expected a lot from you, and it just never ended up panning out the way that we thought it was. What was your expectations of yourself? And he basically said, to be quite honest, I was very disappointed in my performance in 2024. He said, I think I figured out what my problems were, some mental, some of it was mechanical with the car, but he said, I feel a lot better about what I have and where I am mentally coming into 2025. And I think a lot of people are keeping their eye on Miles Rowe this year to be one of our championship contenders.
And Davey, he's driving for Able Motorsports, which continues to be a great story. And I love the fact that just because Jacob, checked the big box of getting to become an IndyCar driver, it's not like
Miles Rowe up to 3rd in the speed charts as he laid down a pretty good lap here in his now that we've gone back to green. Appreciate all of you tuning in on a Friday. And our first time in bringing 33 Dreams to the track in this way, or bringing the track to you. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you could, and then that way you'll be notified of our other lives as we go live with IndyCar tracking. They'll go into it. And now we've heard that Haley has found the tires that's track out where she's at.
as they move up to IndyCar 2025.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, you gotta go to the teams, right? And just go to the history book. I mean, let's just do that. Let's go to the history book and see where those teams have been finishing over the last couple of years, right? And so you have to put them in that same.
Okay, thank you for the information. When I changed scenes to that, then I was losing my audio. So that's one part that I'll have to work on. Thank you so much, Snocky. I'm getting the same feedback, and I need track time just the way that Sophia did. And you just let me know that I put myself into the tires, and I'll need to fix that. And I'll make a quick adjustment between this session and the Indy car session. But thank you so much, and I appreciate you following along.
Pretty fast, and he goes, "We just want to beat somebody."
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, that's the expectation. Just try to beat somebody.
And Michael, for those two drivers, two of the things I like for Louis Foster,
Okay, now I'm back on the map and I have tried the audio. So let's see if this is actually working now. Are you hearing the video or hearing the audio, shall I say, when I'm here on the map where I was pointing out in turn 4? So if you could give me some feedback there in the chat, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hopefully that made the adjustment. We'll go back to timing and scoring now.
Year. I mean, had an opportunity to win that race. Rinus VK has won at Indianapolis, so on the road course. So there are drivers that are successful and flat out know how to drive these cars. It's a matter of teaching these guys the ins and outs. And hey, here's what you look for. And again, you don't know what you don't know. They might be able to find something just with the driving style that somebody else.
Fantastic. Thank you for the feedback on that. We are making changes during practice. That's what it's all about, and making the
Fox Sports
quick
who jump on board covering the IndyCar Series and Indy NXT this season. Davey, I gotta tip our cap to our television friends. All the promos and the commercials.
So let's go ahead and take a rundown here. Colette of our rookies, Dennis Hogger in the Andretti Global second, Miles Rowe in third, and then Mr. Missing, Jordan Missing. Fantastic to see him. Fourth on the list there. And then Callum Hedges rounds out your top 5. Those laps that De Alba and Pearson did early on in the session, they've held up for 6th and 7th. A total, the most laps that I'm seeing here on the board, 24 laps for James Rowe. And Rowe getting an opportunity to shine again with Andretti Global in the Top Con car. Rowe from Ireland, a delight of a driver to get to hang out with and be able to looking for good things for him as well in the sophomore season.
Potentially bring in fans that have never seen our sport before, with all the advertising that went on during the Super Bowl and all the eyeballs that were on those spots. Just curiosity and to flip off. Yeah. And you know, you flip on the race and lap 1, turn number 1. You know, that's always thrilling here at the NTT IndyCar Series. This could be very bountiful for everybody and help us get to that next level. And I'm certainly looking forward to that. Doug Bowles being announced as the president of the NTT IndyCar Series. Yeah. Fantastic. Just great moves throughout the paddock.
I've compared it to the Chuck Norris jokes. You know, everybody loves a good Chuck Norris joke because it's almost unbelievable. And I think marketing drivers that way can be very beneficial. So really excited. The IndyCar Series is going to be on track. And you can hear live coverage of their first practice session immediately following this practice session. 3:05, the voice of IndyCar Radio, Mark Janes, will jump on the airwaves and guide you through that as Michael and Davey talked about.
So currently a total of 20 of the 21 cars on the track making laps. The only driver not out there right now is Haley Deegan. And then we're going to see an update here as the top of the charts, top of the board.
You can visually see it when you go to monitors or you look at this track. The asphalt just continues to get darker and darker and darker, and that black, when it's solid black, that means there's a lot of rubber down, and you see these cars moving around trying different lines, and it's kind of hard to figure out where you need to be sometimes. But for example, coming off of turn 2, you'll see them go all the way up the U-wall, use all that momentum to come off that corner through, get your corner speed up, but you see them jerk to the right quickly just because there's a lot of bumps, there's some manhole covers. So once you learn all that, the ones that are rookies, it's just going to get better and better and better throughout this weekend.
I haven't had a chance to talk to the drivers about this yet. Have you seen any changes to the track? You've been out there.
No, I've been out there. You know, I told Nick, I go, you know, down into Pioneer Park, it seemed like it was just a little bit wider in between, it's like 8, 9 down there. But I'm looking at it, I go, no, it's no wider. I was just going too slow, right? So, I mean, that was just a shakedown lap, the 2-seater. So, obviously going slow through there made it feel a little bit wider. So yeah, I think the track's identical. Really actually felt really good. I know I could see my mirrors dust coming off the tracks. I know it was very, very dirty, but track feels really good.
Yeah, they don't really have harsh winters down here where that track surface is going to change much.
Petersburg proper, it seems really good.
3.5 minutes to go in this first practice session. Dennis Hogger at P1. Kyle Collette is second. Miles Rowe is third quick, and that is 3 drivers from 3 different teams represented early on. So we love to see that parity here in INDYNXT by Firestone. Great practice session so far for Jordan Missick, the driver from Joliet, Illinois. Sits 4th quick. We've also been watching Salvador de Alba, who was so good a year.
So back to the area that they're talking about, turn 8 and 9. This is where you get set up for the turns out of Pioneer Park. And if you cut the inside of the wall here on turn 9, it will throw you into the outside wall here on Bayshore Drive. So it's something that you need to be careful of, and especially in the midst of the race.
Just a little bit sideways, I think. Where are we? Yeah, this is early on in the lap.
Here's the approach to turn 10.
Yeah. Boom, hits that curb right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, the back end steps out. It didn't just throw him out there. The back end stepped out over correction and into that outside wall. It definitely clobbered the right front suspension, right rear suspension. Doesn't look like body work other than the nose wing potentially. So, yeah, they have a little work to do on that car for the next time on track.
It looked like he had it wound down. He wasn't going very fast either.
He had it going pretty good. It just, man, that curbing it's pretty abrupt down there. And when you hit it, like, you normally just shoots you to that outside wall, but I think you're right. The speed was down a little bit. It kicked him sideways, and just a little overcorrection right there got him into that wall.
And that was the point I was going to make, Michael. I mean, you and I have spent a lot of time out in the turns for INDYNXT races, IndyCar races. We see drivers try to catch it all the time, but boy, when the grip bites and all of a sudden that thing's pointing in the wrong direction, it's not hard to do that.
And he had that quick jerk of the wheel, and as soon as he jerked that wheel, that back end wanted to step out on him and just cut. You said it, Davey. I'll guarantee you that somebody's going to get in that turn 10 ball, and it happened a lot quicker than we thought.
That's not the last one. I promise you, that's not the last one. That corner is very difficult, and you feel like you want to just keep, you give too much, and you just keep sneaking down on it. But man, the second you just barely touch it, it does that.
So back to the area that they were talking about would be turn 10. And if we look at turn 10, again, this is where the inside curbing is right here on the inside of it. As you're coming all the way down here next to the Dale Museum, when you go to make the left turn, if you catch that inside curbing there, then you're going to go in the outside. If you're ever thinking of attending the race, this area right here, there's a grandstand that's right here at this area. Gives you a great view of them coming down Bayshore Drive and then making the turn next to where the regatta is and all of the boats that are out here in this area.
Quick for the Irishman. 8th was Josh Pearson. Ricardo Escoto was 9th. 10th was the rookie Lockie Hughes. Jack William Miller for able. We expected some good things from Dennis Hogger, and so far, got to admit, I'm pretty impressed.
I'm impressed with Jordan Missick as well, being 4th quick in that practice session. I didn't expect to see him there. Salvador de Alba looks good. Callum Hedge, we talked about him early in the show. James Rowe there as well. But Dennis Hogger, this kid from Norway, A lot of good talk about him coming out of that Red Bull program and working his way over to the United States. He's taking a shot over here. He's really committed himself. Could have went Formula One racing, wants to go IndyCar racing, and he's proving himself to be quick thus far. Kyle Collette, expected him to be there. Good practice session for Miles Rowe.
And Davey, for the rest of these newcomers like Sophia Flores, like Tommy Smith, they learned the hard way just how unrelenting St. Petersburg can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, no surprise there. I think maybe Coulin's a surprise for me in that 16th spot. In fact, maybe Aller back in 17th. Probably expected them to be a little better. Happy to see that some of the testing, the off-season testing, kind of matched up with what we have right here. And Collette, Rowe, Missig, D'Alba, Hedge, Rowe, they're vet. They come back and they're looking good. It's just that Hogger, I've heard good things about him, and obviously it must be they must be pretty accurate because he finds himself on top of the chart.
Well, if you liked what you heard, more Indy Next action tomorrow morning, 9:10 Eastern time for practice number 2. Indy Next qualifying will be at 1:30.
Well, fantastic, Michael. It's great to hear that you're going to be there at the race, and I'm glad that you're tuning in with us now. Little recap that I was surprised with, a couple things, is seeing Nikita Johnson getting used to the new vehicle. He's there from Gulfport, Florida, although they list him as St. Pete as well, just right around the corner. Him down in 20th position, again, first time in one of these cars. And then also Jonathan Brown with the Chip Ganassi Racing. Expect to see him move up the charts as the weekend goes on. But that was our first attempt. We'll love to see the interaction from you all, helping me through some of the technical issues that I faced in first practice. We're going to take a quick little break, and then I'm going to be back top of the hour, about 4 or 5 minutes after, when the big cars come out, the IndyCar Series. Thank you so much for tuning in to our practice session here on 33 Dreams of Indy, and look forward to